Yeah, on our June 16th phone call, we discussed the need to protect whistleblowers that have approached my office from retaliation. Thank you for committing to protecting them. You told me that you would see eye to eye with me on the importance of whistleblowers. I appreciate your commitment. Two very short related questions. Do you agree that any retaliatory conduct against whistleblowers must be disciplined?
I think retaliatory conduct against whistleblowers is unacceptable. They serve a very, very important role in our system. I know you have long championed the cause of whistleblowers, and we have a number of mechanisms to try to make sure that they have the mechanisms to report, but also the mechanisms to be protected from retaliation. One of the things that I've been doing since I became director is that every time we bring all of our SACs, our special agents in charge across the country together, which we do twice a year, we have the Inspector General, Mr. Horowitz, come and talk to all of them, in particular, to talk to them about the importance of whistleblowers and making sure that whistleblowers are protected.
Let me take one step before that would happen if they were going to be disciplined or not. Can you commit that to me and this committee and the Senate that the FBI won't take any action to determine who the whistleblowers are in the first place?
We will be scrupulous in our adherence to the rules related to whistleblowers. Obviously, if there are allegations of misconduct by FBI employees, we want to make sure that we get that information so that we can use the tools that we have to go after that conduct. But certainly, I condemn in the strongest possible terms any prospect of retaliation against whistleblowers.
I would like to know if the FBI received information. Now, I'm not asking about a case here. I'm just about information that foreign persons had received. Let me start over again. If the FBI received information that foreign persons had evidence of improper or unlawful financial payments paid to elected officials or other politically exposed persons, would that pose a national security concern?
Well, I think the kind of conduct you're describing is typically something that we would look at very closely through our efforts at malign foreign influence. It starts to shade into a blend of what we call malign foreign influence with potentially public corruption, and it's something that we take seriously.
Thank you. Another question following up kind of on that point of view. Pursuant to FBI policies and protocols, what steps should the FBI take to vet or more fully investigate evidence of improper or unlawful financial payment paid to elected officials and other politically exposed persons?
Well, I think at the risk of sounding like a lawyer, like I used to be, it depends on the facts and circumstances of each case. But we would certainly need to look into that, and depending on the circumstances, there could be an assessment, there could be an investigation, there could be any number of steps that would be taken to make sure that there's not a national security risk.
It kind of follows up on what you just said. Does the FBI have a criteria that it uses to evaluate whether information is or isn't disinformation? If so, what is that criteria?
So when it comes to disinformation, we don't look at I think sometimes this gets lost in a lot of the public commentary. We're not out there investigating whether or not information that we see floating around is truthful or false in the first instance. Our focus in the malign foreign influence space, which is I think what you're driving at, is on whether or not there's a foreign adversary of some sort potentially trying to push the information, and then from there we look into it. When it comes to disinformation and, say, defensive briefings, for example, there is an interagency process that was set up under the last administration that's OD&I coordinated, because an awful lot of the information that speaks to whether something might be disinformation is coming not from the FBI, but from other intelligence agencies, or in some cases from foreign allies. And so there's a process to make sure that we are approaching that information consistently and objectively. And of course, the defensive briefings that we do, whether it's for members of Congress, officials in the administration, businesses, universities, what have you, the whole point of the defensive briefing is to share information with the recipient to educate them so that they can make decisions about what they want to do. But again, that's not an FBI coordinated process, an interagency framework led by OD&I on that.
When the FBI receives potential criminal investigation relating to a matter that is subject to investigation and prosecution by a U.S. attorney, is it the FBI's standard practice to share that information with the relevant U.S. attorney's offices?
My expectation is that when a particular office has the lead, both the U.S. Attorney's Office and the relevant FBI field office, that if other offices come across that information that's relevant to that, we want to make sure those tips and leads are passed to the responsible office.
Okay. The FBI has a FBI Director Special Agent Advisory Committee that presents reports and concerns to you. The committee consists of FBI agents from all of its field offices. It has been alleged to me that FBI agents provided information outlining concerns that the FBI has become too politicized in its decision-making. It's been alleged that those concerns were removed from this year's final report. Wouldn't you agree that field agents' concern of that level of significance should be included in the report? What steps will you take to address the concerns raised by these FBI agents?
Well, I have conversations on this topic with agents both on the advisory committees and even outside the committees all the time. Like, so when I go out to field offices, for example, one of the things that I do, and especially in this second round of field office visits, is that I said I want to cut away all the layers between me and the frontline supervisors down at the coalface in the field offices. So in every one of these field offices on this second round of visits, I said no management, just me and them, 45 minutes or so. I want to be able to hear it directly without all the bubble wrap that exists around the FBI director. And I found that to be a very productive way to try to make sure I'm getting closer to, to the action and to the great people we have out on the front lines.
I think you've answered the process, but you haven't answered the specific thing about why that information was taken out of the report.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the
Can you
specific.
follow up and get back to me?
Let me see if there's something we can share with you on that.
Thank you.